Hey, you're about to watch a behind-the-scenes one-on-one coaching session with my millionaire real estate investing clients, Andres and Kelly. They've got an Airbnb portfolio as well as a wholesaling company, and we're going to talk about how to get that company to the next level. If you like this kind of content, make sure you let me know in the comments, and I'll start putting out more of it. Let's jump into it.
So what's going on in life and the business?
So as far as the business goes, yeah, I mean, we're focused on the wholesaling mainly.
Okay.
So we're still doing the JV, relationships. We have the cartel mode on Investor Lift, and that's how we're mainly doing the Dispo on the wholesaling side. And again, we're not doing really a lot of like direct to seller still.
It's just all JVs.
Basically just JV. So our cost is very low.
Yeah.
Basically, our only expenses are virtual assistants, which run like $3 to $6 an hour, and Investor Lift. Cartel mode, which is $50K a year. So that's pretty much one of the biggest expenses. But besides that, it's good. You know, we're probably doing about 4 or 5 deals a month on that. We're still doing some loans, hard money DSCR. So 3 deals a month on that.
What's the average profit on the wholesales?
I think it was about 15K.
Okay.
15K
So
is the
50
average.
to 75 a month
Roughly.
in JVs.
Yeah. And then on the lending side is about $2,500. So it's like a little bit.
Yeah.
6,000-7,000 a month on that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the Airbnb market has slowed down a bit.
Yeah.
Our occupancy is definitely lower now. And then the flips are also, not as good as they were before. We have like 8 or 9 properties that are sitting on the market right now that just haven't sold.
Yeah.
I think we're burning through like $35,000 a month right now, just in holding cost.
Yeah.
We just did some price drops today, just to kind of dude, even if I break
Just
even on the deal,
get them sold
it
and be
doesn't
done
matter,
with them.
you know what I mean? My hard money guys are already like, hey man, you're a year due. And I'm like, holy shit, like, I either need to refi them and rent them out, which I really don't want, or just sell them. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. We're not doing any more like buy and hold or fix and flip.
Yeah.
And we're pretty much just trying to figure out like what properties are profitable and what not. We're trying to organize our books a little bit better because we haven't done a good job at that.
Doing our taxes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still a couple of years behind on taxes.
Yeah.
So we're definitely working through that process. We hired a full-time bookkeeper, so she's definitely helping us.
She's going through all the books.
She is. Obviously with our help, because, Lowe's, Amazon, Home Depot, she has no idea where they're going.
No.
Luckily, she does a good job of like having a lot of like, Instagram stories and stuff. So she'll go back in the stories of like, hey, January 2020, what were we doing?
That's what that was.
Yeah, and so like that's how we're navigating through that process.
Dang.
So it's taking some time to do that.
I tell people this all the time. I'm like, dude, if you don't get a bookkeeper, you will pay for it down the road. Like, your time is going to be way more valuable than, and now you're going through it. It's just like.
I wish we would have invested in that a couple years ago, like from the beginning.
Exactly.
So important.
But like when you're building something and it gets bigger and quicker than you think, and then you're putting out different fires and you see money coming in, so you're just like, whatever, like we'll figure it out later.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point it becomes due and you got to do it.
Overdue.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for the flips, I've been there, like when 2022 hit and they doubled rates, I had 50 of them.
Damn.
Imagine just 50 taking forever to sell. And the stress and the freaking, it wasn't $35,000 a month. It was probably $200,000, $300,000 a month. Like, I don't even know what the number was.
Damn.
So, burning through cash, just trying to get these things sold.
Right.
I had to sell many of them at losses, paid back the investors, but I had to, pay the money out of pocket. So,
Shit.
I will say the benefit of all that was it pushed me to kind of do what you guys are doing, where it's like, hey, you know what? I don't want to go through that anymore.
Right.
Like, let me do some wholesaling and some risk-free type stuff and like make money that way. And, like we'll still do flips, but, we got like 30 plus deals in the pipeline right now, wholesale, that haven't been assigned and or assigned, or we're looking for whatever, right? They're under contract, right?
Sure.
And I probably have like 7 or 8 flips.
Okay.
And half of those flips are like ones that have been sitting still, luxury type flips. And then the other ones are just like, for sure, winners, easy flips that we're doing. So, I just think like, I love flipping. I mean, I flipped hundreds of homes, but I'll probably never have 50 plus flips again.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Just because like now, because we're so good at direct to seller and wholesaling, there's no need.
Sure.
Like so many of our deals now are, we might make 30K on the wholesale, 40K on the flip.
Dude, that's amazing. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, why would
the
we flip
time
it?
spent? No.
Yeah.
The money.
And it's only because we got better at wholesale and Dispo and all those things.
Okay.
Like even too, you know, we're doing a ton of novations now. Like half of our deals are novations, and the novations would make negative money on the flip because, you know, we're talking to sellers who are like, I want 400 grand and it's worth 450. Well, we can't flip it. We can't wholesale it. All we could do is a novation. And they're saying yes. And so we're getting these deals that, you know, end up making us 25 grand on a novation
Nice.
that would have made negative on a flip.
That's crazy.
So it's just like now we've really focused in on that pitch.
So 50% of them are innovations then. And you're unlicensed.
I'm not licensed. No way.
Okay. Because my fear has always been that I'm licensed, and so if I list it myself, or should I go through like a third party? I've never done any type of
We use a
novation.
flat fee broker who just lists all of our properties.
What?
Okay.
Because, I mean, one, I don't need to be licensed. I mean, I haven't been licensed in 6 years. I was licensed for 8 years. I just got rid of my license to get rid of all the liability, and I just never, I didn't use it. Like, I never represented people. So what was the point? It was just nothing but a liability for me. So that's why I got rid of it. But like, if you were to look at like, these are our current deals right here. So you can put that.
You guys are all over the place. Memphis?
Yeah, like we just get leads everywhere now. So, oh, whoops.
And this CRM is white labeled?
Yeah, you guys can get it. It's $97 a month. It has everything. So we have
That's good.
4 that are currently needing photos, but we already, we know their deals. We got a co-wholesale right there, like you. I don't do a ton
Okay,
of
so
them.
you also JV.
I will, from students and stuff. They send it in. And then we got 12 that we're currently marketing, looking for buyers. And so, they'll put their estimated assignment on what they think it's going to end up getting. They'll put 0 if they're not sure. So, like, a lot are zeros because they're like, hey, I don't know, maybe because they're in other markets. But the ones they know for sure, they put. 5 that need to cancel. So we're coming up on due diligence. We're going to just cancel them. All good. And as you can see, most of those are in random markets. Like, we try, we do our best. A bunch of them are actually JVs. Those are all JVs.
Okay.
And the thing with JVs is, like, as you know, you can't control what they bought it for
Right.
and what they got under contract for. Like, it just is what it is. Then we have 5 that are currently on the market for novation. So, whenever they sell, they sell. 83K are assigned right now. I think they just closed a few. And then, 64K have issues with the assignment and stuff. So that's just on the wholesale front. So, I mean, there's freaking 4, 1, 16. Those are canceled. 21. So like 25 deals, not counting those issues.
And where are they coming from?
So we do all inbound marketing now on Facebook ads. And so
All inbound, all Facebook? That's it? That's the only
we
channel you
do,
have?
we spend 30K on Facebook, 10K on PPC.
Okay.
And so,
No YouTube.
not right now. We're going to test YouTube, but right now it's all Facebook. And,
Interesting.
the 40K, we should hit about 250 this month. We hit 250 last
huge.
month. So it's going good.
And you're doing the Facebook yourself, or did you hire a third-party company?
I'm doing it. So I've been doing it now for 7 months. And, the first bunch of months, it was just testing and figuring it out. And then, started to get results and all these things. And then everybody else asked me to do it for them. So that led to a new business. So that's what Lead Kitchen is. So, yeah, now
I didn't even know you had that. Okay, so now you sell the leads, or you have the service?
So we do the service where we will run my ads in their market. So we run it in Florida.
Okay.
And, you just tell us what you want to spend in ads. We'll run it. We already have everything built out, the landing pages, the ads, the funnels, all that stuff.
Okay.
And then it's just like, what's your ad spend? What do you want to do? Then you spend it. And then we just make $3,000 a month as a retainer as the agency.
Got it.
So, yeah, I think we have 30 or 40 clients now in the last couple of months.
Nice.
So like,
That's amazing. That's great.
so yeah, that business is growing. The main thing is just teaching them how to work leads properly,
Sure.
because like most people come from, let's say, the co-wholesale world or
Right.
like cold calling and things like that, and so very low risk stuff.
Yep.
I mean, when you start spending 10 grand a month on leads, you better have it dialed in for how to convert. And you know, if you don't know how to do novations properly, you don't know how to like give them what they want,
Sure.
then it doesn't convert. Because most of these sellers, I mean, for inbound leads in general, a lot of times you're not the only one. You know, they're looking at Open Door, they're looking at whatever. And
Sure.
so, you know, if somebody says, hey, I'll take 400K and it's worth 450, most people think that that's a bad lead. We look at it and we're like, oh, that's a great novation.
Right. That makes sense.
Let's get them on a novation.
Where to fit it.
Yeah, and then like we just got to have a good sales process for how to get those people there. So I always warn people, you know, especially if they're going to do lead kitchen, I'm just like, guys, okay, you're going to spend a lot of money on leads, you know. This is what the leads are going to be, you know. Like you'll get very rarely will you just get laydowns where they're like, yeah, it's worth 450, I'll take 300.
Right.
You know, like that happens, but if that's the only deal you can get, you're going to be in trouble. You got to be able to convert those people who want near market value. And that's what a good sales process can do. Like the other side of the coin is that the good thing with these kind of leads is they're quick. So, you know, cold calling and JVs and everything else, it takes time, right? Like you're just waiting on them to send you a deal. You know, if you get a cold call lead, odds are they're not interested in selling it right today. I mean, you just called them.
Right.
So it's just like, oh, well, yeah, maybe I'd entertain it. And then, you know, the average cycle is like 100 days.
Yeah.
But with an
Lot of
inbound
follow-up.
lead, it's not really a follow-up game. It's like they're ready. It's more of a who's going to give me what I want game. And so, you know, with almost all these leads, they're quick. Like we lock them up within 48 hours.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah,
That's
it's
huge.
different. It's a totally different game. And there's still follow-up, but I would say 80% are within 48 hours.
Dude, that's insane. That is super quick. And most of them are going to innovation.
50%.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you also have like a system for the sales process.
That's all they do out there.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm saying, like, even if it was something you guys wanted to do, you know, down the road, whatever.
I'd have to get the sales process started first, yeah.
Sales guy.
Yeah.
Before marketing, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we just have good Dispo people. I don't really have anybody in acquisition.
Yeah, you got other people doing acquisitions for you, and then you guys are just moving deals they can't sell.
Mm-hmm.
Like we do that too, on the co-wholesale side. But as you know, like a lot of deals that people send you suck,
Yeah.
and like you're gonna have to go renegotiate them, and it's harder when you don't have control of those deals because, you know, they're the ones who locked it up with the sellers. At least
Yep.
when we lock up a deal and we need to renegotiate, we will, you know, do what we got to do to renegotiate because we just know how.
Yeah, we're kind of at their mercy. Like I give them tips. Sometimes I'm like, hey man, let's do a 4-point inspection. Let's pay $90 and see if we can
Get it down 'cause
Yeah,
they get the
give the
inspection.
seller something good so they can at least see that, you know, the house needs a lot of repair.
Yeah.
So we can negotiate more.
Well, also too, like when you're going to renegotiate, it all starts with what did you tell the seller initially? Because in our process, you know, take for example the $400,000 deal, right? We might tell them like, hey, you know, $400,000 is pretty close to retail. You know, an investor's not going to pay that. You know, and so we'll pitch innovation and be like, hey, we can still, you know, do it with no fees, no realtor fee, like, you know, no repairs, like we'll just make it so easy on you, but you know, we're going to have to put it on the open market and get a retail buyer to pay that kind of price. Are you okay with that?
Mhm.
And they'll say, well, yeah, that's fine. Now what happens is we're still like, hey, you know, but just so you know, like that's a pretty high price. So we're going to do our best to get it sold there. Worst case scenario, they can't sell. And we're going to do one of two things. We're either going to cancel or we're going to renegotiate. But you'll know exactly where we need to be if we get to that point. But we're at least going to attempt to get you the 400. And so that's how we approach it.
Good.
And so it makes a renegotiation way easier. Because think about it, like if we put it on the market, like they have to drop the price because there's no other option.
Right.
It's at the end game.
Right.
It's on the market. So if it doesn't sell, it's not like you could be like, well, let me go try another realtor or something. Like it's like, no, it's already on the market. It is what it is.
Right.
So we got to drop the price if we want to sell this. Versus if you do it off market, it's like, all right, well, they don't even know who else looked at it, what it could get. They're like, oh, well, you know what? Let me just go list it. I know I can go get my price if I list it.
Right.
So by doing innovation and pitching that way, you kind of jump straight to the end game, where renegotiation is actually easier.
And the honesty with them as well, like up front, they're gonna trust you.
Yeah. Well, and let's say we don't even do innovation, but you know, whatever, they want 400K, okay? And they're like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, see if you can find an investor for it. You know, I don't know that we would lock it up for 400K in that scenario, but let's say it's like 370, it's still tight,
Right.
okay? We'll be like, all right, you know, 370 is still pretty tight. Like, we would rather go get a retail buyer, but if you're telling me you want cash and everything else, we'll go to our off-market buyers, but I'm just telling you 370 is pretty high, you know? And then it's the same line. It's like, you know, we'll do our best to get you 370, but if we can't, one of two things will happen. We're either going to cancel, you can go do whatever you want, or we're going to renegotiate and we'll just tell you where we need to be. Cool? And they're like, cool. So then what happens is buyers go and see it, and then, you know, from there it's like, all right, whatever the price needs to be. It's like, hey, you saw that those buyers walked it. They saw the problems, the new things, and, you know, we need to be at 350. You know, you have a choice. You take the 350 or just back out and go figure out what you want to do. So I think the problem with co-wholesaling, and it's not bad, I mean, you guys are having success, but one of the problems is you're dependent on deal flow from other people.
Yeah.
So it's inconsistent. And renegotiating is really hard.
Yeah. It's up to them pretty much.
Yeah, you don't know what they told them. You don't know how good they are at getting a new number.
Right.
Whereas when you control the whole sales cycle from the beginning, everything's easier.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we'd have to build something else out.
Yeah, you would need an acquisitions team.
It's a totally different type of a strategy. We have some questions actually.
All right, let's hear them.
Okay, so I'm growing another business. It's called the Woman Empowerment Show, and this is think of it like a movement. It's going to have in-person seminars, online courses, and creating community. The goal of it is, it's more of like a purpose that I have, but at the same time, I want to make it profitable and create it as a business as well. So, and I'm targeting I've been doing it on Instagram mainly, now I'm transitioning into YouTube. And the goal with this is to teach people about what we've been doing already. Airbnb investments and how to basically get started from zero, being an immigrant, like focusing on that. So the question is, with that background and a little bit of explanation of what it is, what would you tell me if you were to start that from zero, let's say today, the experience that you have already, what will be the 5 things you will be focusing the most to make this into something profitable? Focusing on YouTube, like what are the most simple things to transition?
Yeah. So this is the way I think about marketing and products and everything in general. So, you know, there's 4 P's of marketing. The first P is product. And so it's like, what is the thing we're selling? So we're going to sell this women's empowerment group. Now, the thing I would ask with that is like, okay, so what's the product, right? Is it a monthly recurring thing? Is it a high ticket thing? Like, what is the actual product? Because something could be $100,000. It could be $97 a month. You know, I have everything in between. So what's the actual product? Because that's going to determine a lot of what we do. Because there's only so many people that could afford 100,000. There's lots of people that could afford 97. But, you know, the cheaper the thing is, the harder it is to make the numbers work out profitably. You need lots of people, right?
The cheaper the thing, the more difficult to make.
Starting out.
Right.
Starting out. So product is first. The second is person. So who's the person who would buy this product? So, you know, we know that they're women, obviously, but what else about them? You know, are they Latin? Are they young? Are they old? Are they housewives? Are they entrepreneurs? Are they, you know, like get crystal clear on who this woman is, you know, everything about them. Yep, the avatar. The next one is problem. What are the problems this woman has that my product solves? So I need to start really thinking about what is this person's problems, because if I know their problems, I can now make content around solving their problems. So, because I'm going to start marketing to them and be like, hey, are you struggling with this problem? You know, you're tired of men doing this? Like, I don't know, right? Like, but either way, you know, figure out what their problems are.
About feminism, by the way. Actually,
Okay.
I have it as WO-men. It's a combination of both.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Okay. So that's perfect, right? So we would know that with product, and then we would know that, hey, what is the problem they're facing? And so maybe they're facing problems with, you know, their spouse. Maybe they're facing problems with a partner. Maybe they're facing problems, like whatever. Everyone has problems. We just got to diagnose what are like the top 10 problems that they face. How do I make content around those 10 problems? Like, hey, here's how to have a better partnership or relationship with your spouse in a business. Here's how you know, you can go start your business on your own. Here's how to get more clients who love your product, and like just figure out whatever their problems are. The last piece is platform. So what is the platform they're on? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on YouTube? Like, you know, so when you say, should I start YouTube? I'm like, I don't know. You know, where is the person you want to attract? Are they on YouTube? I mean, we think everyone's on YouTube, but the reality is they're not. You know, if somebody was like a tech person, I'd be like, man, a lot of those people are on X. They're on LinkedIn. You know, I'd be trying to hunt them over there. They're not on Instagram the way that we as hustler entrepreneurs are, you know? Facebook would be older. It's like, hey, if my demographic was like 50, 60, 70 plus, I'd be on Facebook really hammering that. So, you know, the platform is going to be dictated by the other things we just said. So then you make content addressing the problems on the platform that person's on that inevitably points to your product that solves their problems.
I'm doing it backwards. On the content first. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So what would you say is their problem?
Their problem is how to maintain a balance with creating the business, making it successful, but it's still having a balance with their life, with their spouse,
with kids,
with their kids,
Yep.
with their family.
It's a big problem.
Yes.
Yep. So that's a huge problem. And
for who? Women and men, mostly immigrants, or people that are basically starting from zero.
Okay.
With no money.
So I would say, just my initial feedback based on that, is that number one, you mentioned immigrants. I think that should be highlighted because that's a niche in itself. There's lots of, you know, women empowerment things, but if you're like, hey, we specifically help immigrant women, you know, do this. Okay. Now it's like, you're like, that's me. That's exact. And usually the business is a reflection of you.
Right.
Right. So it's like the people who do business with me look at you guys, right?
Yeah.
So,
you guys actually do look alike.
Yeah. So, but it's true. Like you get
for sure.
people who are like you. Yeah. So think about your own problems, and that usually leads to a business. Like I did Lead Kitchen to solve my own lead problem. Right. Costs were getting too expensive, so I had to solve the problem. Oh, and guess what? Everyone else has the same problem too.
Yeah.
Now you got a business. So, you know, I just would think about your own problems and say, how do I solve it with a product? You know, the things that I've had to go through in this journey, like things I wish I would have had 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And, you know, you create those things today and you can speak from the heart of the things that you know other people are struggling with. You know, I talk about faith and family all the time because I know how much of a struggle it is for entrepreneurs. It's like, yo, it's tough when you got 3 kids and you got a wife and, you know, you got businesses and you got freaking money flowing out and you got to go make money and you got to think of new things and you get punched in the face 10 times and like, I get it. So I try to do things that have helped me solve my own problem and then, you know, it becomes a solution for others too.
Okay. I like that a lot. Thank you.
There we go.
We have some questions.
Sure. Yeah, I would just say,
I think
I don't know which ones you're looking at, but
this one.
I would say what type of buy and hold properties are you looking at, and what does your underwriting look like? Because I know that obviously things are very tough to pencil out right now. So like Airbnbs are, you know, difficult to purchase, and I just kind of want to see like what is your long-term play on like the buy and hold strategy, what markets you're looking to buy into or what you're currently buying into, and what type of product.
Yeah, for the last year and a half, I have not focused on buy and hold at all.
You're not doing anything. Okay, got it.
Yeah, because like my philosophy has always just been be a real estate investor,
Right.
not be a multifamily or a Airbnb or a wholesaler or like I am
Sure.
whatever the market gives me.
The umbrella.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, like if I'm gonna do what's best for the market.
Makes
so
sense.
you know, here in Vegas, the last year and a half, it's like nothing cash flows,
Right.
but I can make 40K wholesaling it. So
Got it.
why would I keep it? It's just like, lose $400 a month, keeping it as a rental.
Right.
And Vegas also doesn't let you do Airbnb.
Right.
So like, it's just not even an option. So I'm just gonna wholesale it and flip it. Now, I think rates are gonna go down, and I think that things are gonna start to cash flow here in the next year.
Okay.
I think rents are gonna go up. So, you know, overall, I'll probably start buying some burrs in Vegas again and just do normal rentals. Like at the end of the day, Vegas doesn't allow Airbnb. I'm not buying it for cash flow anyways. I'm buying it for long-term wealth, and
Tax.
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna make my cash flow from my
Your
businesses.
businesses, yeah.
And from tax savings of buying the property. Like that's
Right.
cash flow to me.
Right.
So, like that will be my strategy. I'll buy more in Vegas.
Okay.
You know, we'll probably start looking for apartments again with Pineda Capital. You know, I haven't really looked because it's just nothing pencils. So it's just like, you know, the commercial real estate side of things is really weird right now because nobody's like dropping their prices because if they do, they'll be underwater. And, you know, like nobody wants to buy them at those prices. There's like a stalemate and it just is what it is. And so, you know, instead of trying to like squeeze a lemon and really find an apartment, I'm just like, yeah, I'll focus my energy on other things that I know can make me money now.
Keep switching.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. And then, you know, next year, let's say commercial's good. Let's say single family rentals are cash flowing. It's like, all right, let's start to cherry pick some of these and raise money. Because raising money has also been hard the last 2 years, right? When everything got tight, people got tight. So raising money got 10 times harder than it was 3 years ago. And so it's like, all right, well, if raising money's super hard and I can't find as many deals, then what? Let me just go focus on generating leads and wholesaling. It's not like a forever thing.
Sure.
It's
Just during the market thing, yeah.
I'm going to just do what I think is the best thing right now. So, you know, because I look at it, to me, I just look at everything as just money as far as business goes.
Sure.
So it's like, I don't need to buy a rental for like my ego. It's
Sure.
just like, what's it going to make me? It's going to lose me money right now. Like, I want to do things that make me money.
What about your tax liability though? Because you have all these cash flowing businesses.
Well, and this was the other part too. So when I lost a bunch of money on those house flips, I didn't need to worry about it anymore.
oh, okay. Because you can take that loss and you can, okay,
So,
over the next
you
couple
know,
years.
it's like, all right, well, this sucks, but this is going to limit my taxes already because I'm going to take a bunch of L's and it is what it is.
Right.
So, you know, like I didn't have to worry about tax liability the last, you know, year and a half. But next year I will have to worry about it, you know, God willing, assuming
course.
things go really good. So, and then next year that means I'll just start buying again and, you know, things should be better.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be trying to force rentals if they're not there.
Sure.
Just pivot. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what you did, right? You guys
Yeah.
weren't really
Yeah, we stopped.
wholesaling and
Yeah.
you guys weren't JVing and stuff when you first came. You guys were
It was
just
starting.
doing the Airbnb thing and
Right.
you know, you pivoted into co-wholesaling and it's been great for you guys.
Yeah.
You know, it's kept things going, right? So to me, it's just like, well, why not? You guys are new at it and you're doing great. Why not just double down, triple down and go get it to 200K a month versus trying to get one more Airbnb that makes you $1,000 a month?
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because now you have a machine, right? You have a really good Dispo machine. You already spent 50K a year on cartel mode.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it doesn't cost you anything else to put more through the machine of Dispo.
It's already running.
Yeah, because you already got it going. So why
Yeah.
not figure out how to put more into that machine?
Yeah. Right now we have like, we usually have like 30 to 40 deals at a time. So we usually have a lot of inventory.
How do you think you're helping the client right now? If it's not being profitable, or for you, it's not being profitable to do the flips. So you're wholesaling to somebody that's doing.
And buyers.
and buyers.
Because with Innovation, you're wholesaling it to the retail. So just whoever's going to live there, like you're just skipping the flipper and selling it directly to the guy the flipper was going to sell to anyways. So they're good. On our typical wholesales, what we're finding is, flippers who are willing to take smaller profits and just do volume because they can't find deals. They're like, well, we'd rather make 15 grand than not do a deal. Right. Even though I wouldn't do it. I'm not buying no $400,000 house trying to make 15 grand.
No, there's no way.
Have the other option.
They don't have they're just like, they don't have a choice. So it's like either take the deal or do zero. Because they're not pivoting. They're not saying, man, how do I start getting my own deals? And I have to keep buying from freaking Ryan taking all the money off the top. And I'm like, well, I got a lot of staff and overhead too. I'm the one hustling, getting these leads, figuring out how to market, I'm paying my sales guys. If you want to do all that, then you could do it too. And I'll sell you Lead Kitchen, right? Like, it's like, nobody has an excuse. No flipper should ever complain that wholesalers are making too much. That's the flipper's fault. Go get your own deals and spend your own money on marketing and talk to sellers yourself. Oh, you don't want to? Then shut up. Just freaking buy the deal and deal with it.
Pay me $30K.
Yeah, like don't. Yeah. I've been on both sides, so I could complain about it, or I just go create my own deals, right? And so, yeah, I think with the flippers and the wholesalers, like we've also, when we do them off market because of investor lift and everything else, we can find like a lot of landlords too who aren't going to flip, but they're like, bro, I love this area. Like I'll pay 90% of market value for this house because of this area.
And so on the Dispo side, you have cold callers that are going through the God mode and they're calling all those landlords?
I have two Dispo reps, so every time we get a deal, that's all they're doing is just
straight cold calling.
Cold calling. Anyone who looks at it, I forget what all the modes are called. I should know. But anybody who, the moment they blast it, I mean, you can see who all looks at it.
Right. And so they're calling everybody who looks at it? Wow, that's a lot.
Well, they organize it from the top of the list to see who spent the most time looking at it.
Okay.
Or whoever reaches out. But yeah, they're like, hey, I see you're looking at, like literally as they're doing it, they're like, hey, it looks like you're looking at it right now.
Oh, you're texting them?
Yeah.
Or you call them first and then they text?
They'll do both.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be texting, all the people looking at it and stuff. And then all of a sudden
and they text directly through the CRM that you guys have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you guys using a CRM at all?
We have Follow a Boss.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it was purchased by Zillow for $500 million last year.
I wish that happened to me.
Yeah. So I figured, okay, I've been using it since 2016, but it's mainly for realtors.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been trying to. I mean, it's got a lot of data, and I guess it really just depends on like how you use it and how you set it up.
Yeah, ours is set up for flippers and wholesalers, so
yeah,
it'd be good for you. Pretty much all our students are on it. I custom made it this year for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's good for just tracking your pipelines, especially as you go to direct to seller, because that's the next step for you.
Yep.
I mean, because like you just said, right? You'll get 40 deals sent to you, and then only 10% of them actually close.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because 90% of them are priced too high,
probably,
or whatever the case is, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, in a way, you kind of are doing acquisitions because you got to filter through all this crap to do deals. And I'm not saying you should stop doing it. You can totally double down. It's like, all right, well, how am I going to get more deals? But yeah, it's like, yeah, clearly most of our leads don't pan out either. We're trying to negotiate with seller, but, our wholesale fees are going to be significantly higher, which they are.
So your average is what, 30K?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
The last bunch of years, it's always been above 30K.
Wow.
So, but we have marketing expense.
Sure.
But it's easier to scale marketing than it is JV.
Because you can just start putting more money into the marketing. Yeah, exactly.
So like for you to JV, like you got to do a lot.
I would have to market more to wholesalers.
Yeah, and and that takes time too. You got to build relationships where they trust you. And so, what I always tell people is like, if you want to scale relationships, it's hard. It just takes time. There's no other way around it. Whereas you want to scale paid marketing and inbound leads, it's like, bro, what do you want to spend? Oh, you want to spend 20K? All right, boom. And then you turn it on and you're just going. It's there. So, That's why I've always loved inbound marketing, and I've always done it the last 5 years, whether it was TV commercials, Facebook ads, PPC. It's so much easier. Because, like, here's the thing, too. Let's say I was doing cold calling. Cold calling is great when you're first starting out, but it's very hard to scale because, first off, we could pull all the data in Florida and, like, have it all pretty quickly. And then you got, like, 6 VAs hitting it all, and, like, you're going to call everyone in a month. Like, it's done. You can't call anymore. It just is, it's capped. So your question then becomes, all right, well, maybe we go to Central Florida. Maybe we go to North Florida. Maybe we go to Georgia. And you got to just go to new markets and do different things. Not saying it's bad, but that's just the only way cold calling and texting would scale. Whereas, inbound sources, and by the way, that takes also time to train the VAs, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Sure.
Script up, like it's a long process to scale that way. Whereas, TV or PPC or Facebook or any of these things, it's like, all right, we're in Vegas. What do we want to spend? 20? I don't need to train anybody. I don't need to do anything. It's just like, let's turn it on. And then it's on. And now we have the leads. It's instant. There's no humans. It's just boom.
You're sales guys, obviously.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about like VAs training them to create the lead.
Right.
The lead is just created instantly. And then it's like, all right, this is going great. Let's do 30K. We don't need to hire anybody. It's just click. Now we do 30K. And then, there's always a cap. So we might cap out, let's say Vegas's cap is 100K a month. And I don't know. I don't think that's true, but let's just say it was. So it's like, oh man, at 100K, we have new problems now. Like our cost per lead is getting too high. We're hitting the same people now. There reaches a point of saturation at some point. Or I run into a different problem where we generate too many leads and I don't have enough sales guys. So now I need to, get more sales guys. So there inevitably becomes a cap for me at some point. But let's say I fix the sales guys problem and, now I got to figure out, okay, I can spend 100 on Facebook here. Now what? I got enough sales guys to handle more capacity. So I could do one of two things. I could pick a different marketing channel and stay in Vegas and go higher. So now it's like, all right, you know what? Let's do 30K on PPC because that's a different marketing channel. Let's do 30K on direct mail. And so inevitably you can just do different marketing channels in the same market, which is what I normally would advise because you already have your Dispo built out for this market. You already have your buyers. You have the easy, and the values in Vegas, everything about it. So now we just need more leads from different areas. But if I truly wanted to, I could say, you know what? All right, cool. We're just going to stick to Facebook because this is our bread and butter. Now I'm going to run it in Phoenix. Now I'm going to run it in LA and just run the same marketing in a different market, which is what the cold calling example has to do, right? And then now, the only problem with going to different markets is I got to learn buyers in those markets now. I got to learn values because I just don't know the market and the areas like I do here. So it's a bigger learning curve to go into a new market. Whereas going into a new marketing channel is usually easier.
What is the average cost per lead on the Facebook?
It varies on the market. So like in Vegas, we've always been around $200 a lead. PPC in Vegas is like $800 a lead.
Wow.
TV was like $400 to $600 a lead. So that's why I like Facebook because it's the cheapest. Now, is it as quality as like say a PPC lead? I mean, I would say it's a tier below. We do both.
I mean, but it's 4 times cheaper.
It's 4 times cheaper. Give me 4 times the at-bats. That's my philosophy, especially if I know how to novate and do those things. But if you only know how to handle laydowns, PPC and cold calling could be better if you suck at sales. So, that is, but actually, if you suck at sales, don't ever do PPC because if you're gonna
you have to be a closer, and it's
it's $800 a lead. You're gonna get 6 leads. You better close it. That's $6,000.
Don't do this.
Damn.
Yeah, pretty much. Like you can't do it, but cold call you could because the leads are so cheap. It's like we get a couple leads a day. I just got a couple of VAs. I'm paying a few thousand a month, and that's why most people do cold calling because they don't have a budget and they suck at sales. It's a great way to start. Only high-end people do inbound marketing at a high level because it's so, I don't want to say it's risky because it is. Like at the end of the day, you're spending the money on the marketing, but I would argue it's not as risky as flipping, as we both know.
True.
If you got 10 houses you're flipping and they're not selling, You know, you're spending $35K a month waiting for these things to sell. They may or may not make money.
Right.
That's way riskier than spending $10K a month on marketing.
That makes sense.
And that's how I see it.
True.
You know, I'm like, all right, the worst that happens is I make 0 and I lose 40K, you know, this month. But I know that's not going to happen. Like, we just know our data. Like, it's just not going to happen. I'm going to break even. I'm going to, like, something worst case will happen. Now, as we know also too, there are months where you make 0 because deals just don't sell this month.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, but there's still conversations being opened and
And you know, the next month it'll even out. Like, we're gonna freaking all those deals get pushed into this month, and now we have a huge month the next month, and so everything evens out. So yeah, you know, my point with all of it is, I think it's easier to stay in a market and add a new channel overall. And I think that from my experience now, having done flipping for a long, long time and now doing this at a high level, like, it would be hard to get me to go back to flipping the majority of what I do. Even if I got the deals for free, you know, I'm buying from wholesalers, MLS, I have no marketing expense. The risk is really high when you start to do a lot of deals. Now, if you're just doing one deal and you don't have a team and you're just getting, it's great. Go flip a house, make 30K. Go flip a couple, you can make 6 figures for sure. But if you can figure out this direct to seller thing, in my opinion, even though you got to spend money on marketing, it's significantly less risky.
You're not worried about like the legislation that may be coming about wholesaling?
No.
I mean, everybody's been talking about it for years, but I guess there's always been a pivot. But South Carolina just started to make it illegal, but now would the novation still work in South Carolina, or do you just stay out of those markets?
I mean,
Do
we
you
closed
buy
like
them?
a 40K deal in South Carolina earlier this year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So it's still...
But I mean, I think that was before their official law passed. But I mean, like, I'm not in South Carolina, so I don't worry about it. But I know people are doing deals in South Carolina. So
Interesting.
I'm sure you need like an extra, honestly, what all of these laws and things come down to is needing like one extra document.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like,
So it's not going away?
No.
You don't think wholesaling will ever go away?
No. So like this whole realtor thing with NAR and buyer broker crap, it's like,
Right.
bro, it's one extra form. Just get the buyer to sign one form.
Right.
That's literally the only thing that changed. With wholesaling, okay, let's say wholesaling's illegal. In most cases, just double close. You know, there's one extra transaction. You're actually going to buy it and sell it. You know, maybe the worst case scenario is that you need a transactional lender, you know, and you got to start buying the properties and selling them on market yourself, you know? And it's like, all right, people start wholesaling a lot now. So all these deals, like, you know, you got to actually learn how to flip, which if that happens, I already know how to do all that. That's not a big deal to me. You know, there will be some deals that I just take and sell as is right there on the market.
Sure.
There's going to be some deals that, yeah, we got to fix them up, and that's a better use of time and resource. Let's fix them up and maximize the spread. Like that would, but that's years and years and years.
So we got plenty of time before we worry about
We'll
that.
be selling contracts for many, many years to come. So I wouldn't worry about any of that.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was like, you know, if I invest all this time and energy and effort into like building this up and then boom, it becomes illegal. And
No, like I said, at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
it'll
the
take
worst
time.
case is you start having to take deals down.
yeah,
But that's not that big of a deal. If it's way under market value, you're going to be fine.
yeah, you can just wholesale it. Worst case scenario. I mean, we've done that, and our average spread on wholesaling was about 30K
Exactly.
last year, so it's not bad.
And
This year it hasn't worked out like that, but yeah,
yeah.
in the past it has.
Yeah, and it will. I mean, even with, let's just say you had to take down every deal, worst case scenario, right? So same
It's
thing,
also
right?
not as scalable, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I believe there's going to be new businesses that pop up to support that. And so there's going to be new ways to make money. Yeah, like, I'll be like, okay, dude, you know what? We're going to fund your deals. Like, we know they're safe, and, you know, we'll go raise capital for it, and you're going to pay us percentage of your deal or points and interest, whatever the case is. But it's like, bro, think about it from a lender perspective. If you were now forced to flip all these deals that you would have otherwise wholesale, but now it's going to take you 30 days, 60 days to sell it.
The lending side is now going to explode, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, all right, bro, like, I'll give you the money. Freaking, it's an easy deal. I know you got it way under value.
Right.
So
100% financing.
100% people will do 100% financing
Yeah.
because it's so cheap. And the way they'll do it is they'll make it, you buy it in their name so they don't have to foreclose and they can take it over if there's an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, right now we're buying with 100% financing with Kiavi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
Kiavi, I guarantee, they'll change their lending to support wholesalers. Kiavi is probably waiting for that to happen. Lending business will go through the roof.
That's true.
I can guarantee if that happened, I'll be in the lending business. I will. Like, I will partner with Kiavi or whoever.
Yep.
And I'll be like, all right, guys, we're going to do this for all of our students because they have to do this type of financing now. I'm going to get a piece of everyone's deal. You know, so like, once again, it will never go away. It'll just be done differently.
The lending business will definitely explode.
For sure. It's like, you know, people have been saying realtors are going to go away forever.
Right. Here we are.
They're still around. People still need help buying and selling houses. Like, it's a hard thing to do. Like, we're professionals and we know how complicated it is. You think normal, everyday people figure this thing out, how to deal with each other on a deal with no middleman involved? Yeah, right.
True.
People ain't that smart. People can't even do a transaction with each other for simple things.
Right. Yeah.
Let alone a home, the most important asset they own.
Yeah, there's always has to be a middleman to
There's always a mediator.
put everything together.
That's how life has been from the beginning.
Whether the cost-efficient measures that you have implemented recently in your operations that could be applicable to our business.
You know, we've gotten way leaner the last year. You know, I realized we had a lot of great people that I really, you know, like and all that. But, you know, you just kind of look at the business and you're like, man, it's just like the value that they're generating for the company isn't like, you know, worth it. And, you know, you start to realize too with tech, a lot of old positions become not as needed, you know? So it's like, dude, like with our CRM that I just showed you, that eliminated like 4 positions.
Wow.
Because I used to have 2 full-time tech guys who managed all this stuff. Now the CRM just does, it's so user-friendly. I don't need 2 full-time tech
That's
guys,
huge.
you know? So that saved me 15 grand a month, you know? Then, because they used to build out all of our stuff custom. Now we can just build it all out in the CRM so easily,
All the
you know?
integrators,
Yeah, so like, okay, that was that. You know, ISAs and, you know, all these follow-up people and these setters. I don't have setters anymore.
What's
you
a
know?
setter?
They're basically anyone who just goes through the old database and, you know,
Is it,
just tries to warm up the lead and then give it to a closer and somebody else, right? I don't even have that anymore because I just let automations and follow-up and AI and all that re-warm up people. And now all of a sudden, they're like, oh, you know what? I'm interested in selling my home. Oh, I'm interested in coaching. Oh, I'm interested in whatever. And it's like, all right, cool. Now my people talk to them. I don't need to spend money on those kind of people anymore. If you don't have the skills to close, then it's just like you don't really have a role.
Great.
You know, you think about Dispo. You know, now that we have Investor, how much easier has Investor Lift made Dispo?
It's huge.
Before you would have
Yeah.
needed lots of Dispo people going on Facebook, doing all this stuff. So less people there. ChatGPT has made it so that I don't need 3 copywriters. I need 1. And ChatGPT, she can, you know, use ChatGPT and get copy for everything we do. We, you know, write our descriptions, write, you know, our websites, our ads, all this stuff. And so like you just kind of look at what tech is doing and it's eliminating a lot of positions that you used to need.
How often do you go through that, like checking in what's the roles, what's my team
Every quarter.
every quarter?
Yeah, when we're reviewing the quarter and how we did and everything, you know, we're like, okay, what didn't work? You know, why didn't it work? Do we need to keep doing this? If we don't do this, then what does that look like? How much money do we save? You know, who's don't we need? What kind of marketing don't we need to spend anymore? You know.
Who
So
do
every-
you do those meetings with? Leadership team?
Yeah, so our leadership team. So me, Javi, who is my COO over the parent company, Pineda Co. Noelle, my CFO, she's also my sister. And then those would be the main 2 that I'm consulting with about like super high level stuff. But then we have the COOs of each company. So, you know, Monty at Home Run Offer, you know, he oversees the entire house flipping and wholesaling. And then, You know, Javi's overseeing the education side, and then you know, well, we have the nonprofit too, so we do that over there as well.
I don't know. What is it about?
It's for helping Christian entrepreneurs.
I love that.
Yeah. So very similar to like what you're trying to do with women empowerment. It's like we created a community for Christian business people and entrepreneurs, because I know their problems. You know, it's like, man, how do I get closer to God and build my business? You know, so we have an online community. We have weekly Zoom calls. We have local Bible studies. We've started 70 Bible studies
Nice.
across the country.
That's
Actually,
awesome.
at the world. We have some international.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And then we're doing live events throughout the year. So we had one huge event with over 1,000 people. So I had like a bunch of my friends, like Ed Milet and others, come speak. It was crazy.
Awesome.
And then I'm gonna hold like mini events at churches throughout the country. So yeah, all of that is our nonprofit. It's all free. So we just purely operate. Well, we were operating out of my pocket the last year, but now we have donations and everything else. And so I built like a community called Tent Makers where they donate every month to the cause. And so, you know, these are successful Christian business people that are, you know, they've been to the events, they love it, so they know what we're doing.
Part of your culture.
Yeah.
already.
So
Okay.
I think that's a good model. But, you know, I know yours is for profit, and so you're going to need another mechanism to make money, whereas ours is like reliant on just people wanting to give,
Right.
which is a much harder sell, by the way.
Sure.
I've been thinking about this for a while, like how do I productize what we do over there and make it similar to like what we do in just normal education, but it all stays within the nonprofit. Because if I can make, the nonprofit is a business at the end of the day. So if it can operate by selling its own products and different things, it self-supports
Right.
without relying on donations. So like that's the next stage.
Which ultimately will help you help more people.
Yeah,
Sure.
100%. We need money to throw events. We need money to launch more we need money to do a lot of things.
So you do these meetings with like 4 people, and then how often do you meet with your entire team, or you don't really meet with your entire?
So Mondays are when I do all of my meetings for the week. So 9 a.m. on Monday, I hold a company-wide meeting. And so that's like 15 minutes on Zoom. You know, it's everyone in this office and any of our virtual employees. And so it's usually like 40 to 50 people on that call.
If
And
they
so
have like direct questions to you, that's their time. Kind of thing, or
not
direct-
really. It's not like a Q&A type deal. Most people who have questions, they go to their manager, not me. It's more of like a culture thing.
Okay.
You know, we share things
Moral.
we're grateful for. We shout people out, morale, get people hyped, let them know what we're, you know, trying to do this week. Any, you know, things going on, like, hey, you know, we got an event this week. Like, you know, this is what's going on. Hey, you know, Joey killed it last week. This guy did this. And so it's really just giving recognition to the people in the company. That's really what it's about. And for them to see me and, you know,
Feel like they're a part.
Yeah, you're the leader,
because
of
I
course.
can't talk to everyone
You care.
one-on-one for every week, right? So that's my time for them to see me. And then after that, I hold my meetings that I'm in charge of. So I'm in charge of marketing in the company. That's my main role. So I have a marketing meeting right after. It takes usually like 45 minutes. And we're going over everything. Every funnel, every product, our ad spend, you know, different
Does
things
you
we're
with all
testing.
the managers?
It's me with everyone in the marketing department.
Okay.
So, because I'm the king. Oh, I'm the king. I am the manager of the marketing department. You know, like I'm the guy. I work with the marketing directly with them on everything. So, you know, our project manager, our ad buyer, our copywriter, tech guy, you know, I'm working with them to make sure that we're doing, because marketing is the very first part of everything. It's like, man, if
sure.
we don't have leads, we don't
Key.
make money. So I focus on that. And then I do a content meeting, which is part of marketing, essentially. So, hey, like what's up going on with the podcast and the YouTube and everything that we're doing and, you know, all that stuff. And then this quarter, a meeting with the sales team every Monday of every department. So it's like, hey, I'm talking to our sales team about, you know, the home sellers. That's actually how we perfected this Novation pitch, because I've been working with them for two months now of just like, hey, like what are objections you're getting? And then I soon realized after continuing to hear their objections, like, hey, they just want too much and we're struggling to pitch Novation. And I'm like, well, why don't we pitch Novation from the beginning and, you know, make the cash offer look like the bad option instead of like pivoting to Novation after we've been rejected by the cash offer? Like, what if we were like, hey, you know what? We'll give you 400 instead of like, well, we can't do 400, we could do 350. And they're like, no. And it's like, all right, well, what if we could try to get you but at that point you've already offended them or whatever. But I would
to change from a no.
Yeah, so for me, I wanted to dive deep into sales this quarter. That was my commitment. I'm like, I'm going to meet with the sales team every week. I'm going to hop on sales calls myself and just get a feel for what's going on in the market. And I'm going to talk to people in education, in homeowners. I want to hear it. And so I met with them, and now their sales process is much better. I'm meeting with, our education team and our lead kitchen team and talking to them about their pitches to potential clients and students and everything else, and, just trying to refine that. So that's an initiative I have this quarter. I'm probably going to keep doing it even next quarter, but it's not like a long-term thing I want to do every Monday. But I will do marketing, because I know that we're going to grow as big as marketing grows.
And then with the managers of all the other businesses, do you also do one specifically, or it just goes?
I let Javi, who's my COO of everything, the parent company, meet with those COOs. And so that's what he does.
Okay.
So he's meeting with them every week and just making sure everything's good, listening to any problems they have, all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But they're right there. I can go talk to them. Like, it's not like I just avoid them. Like, we still talk, but I don't have a formal meeting with them every week.
Like the consistency of just
Yeah, that's Javi's job.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's your COO.
Yeah. So Javi's job is to meet with the leaders of each company. So he'll meet with Monty and be like, hey, how's everything going? Sales team's good, Dispo's good, projects, flips, okay, cool. Then I'll go meet with Lead Kitchen and be like, hey, how's our clients doing? How many did we sign up? Did we lose any? What was the reason? All this stuff. Okay. Wealthy investor, all right, cool, what's going on? How is the students? Are the events getting ready? Are we good? All that stuff. Fulfillment type stuff. If I'm looking at it from the top level of leads and revenue and marketing and sales, he's looking at more so the fulfillment side of things, making sure that the experience is good, deals are happening, clients are happy, they're getting leads, all the different things.
Coach.
What?
That a human touch the more. Okay.
Yeah, because we could sell them, but if they're not happy, they're not going to stay. So we got to make sure that fulfillment is good.
Okay. That's me.
Yeah.
And you see, there's the role.
Making sure that everybody's happy. Yeah.
It's a huge role.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because, at the end of the day,
That's like the glue, yeah.
well, the glue is not only your customers, but also your employees.
Yeah, making sure they're happy.
Yeah, you can replace them, but it's going to cost you time and money.
What do you do to incentivize them? Do you have weekly or monthly goals or different prizes or things like that?
Yeah, I think obviously the big
trophies. What?
Yeah, what you're talking about are what we call spiffs, and so it's just random rewards and bonuses and things. So Javi will do spiffs, sometimes just randomly throughout the week or throughout the month, I should say. Hey, this week, whoever's the best sales guy, I'm going to give them $1,000 or whatever the case is, right?
Okay.
On the home run offer side, I have a wheel that we do once a month if they hit their revenue goal. So this month, if they hit their 250, we're spinning the wheel, and I put random things on it. So whatever they spend, they get. So there might be $1,000,
Oh shit. Okay.
$100, a free or a dinner for the entire team,
Something with their family.
whatever, right? They're all it's not just all money. Some are experiences, some are money,
Cool.
and so everybody gets to spin, and it's always fun. It was funny, last month they thought the wheel was rigged because it got to 7 people spun it, and because the whole team spins it. It's not just one person, the whole team. If we hit our goal, everyone spins.
Oh, nice. That's good. That's awesome.
But 4 people spun the same thing, and it was lunch for the whole team. So they got
Nice.
they got 4 lunches. They're like, dude, this thing is broke, and I was like, dude, I didn't the lunch for the whole team's not that cheap.
How can I make it?
But then we spun it like randomly, and it was like, I don't know how, like the odds that happened were pretty crazy. Because there's like 8 things that could hit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They were lucky that day.
It was 1 of 8, and it just kept hitting. So.
That one is pretty cool. I like that. It's just the whole dynamic with that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of the things we need the most, instead of being like a police on top of them, more so inviting them to be the leaders that they can be, so we don't have to be on top of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of your staff are VAs, right?
We're all virtual. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it. That's
So-
the biggest difference.
Dude, you could do, I mean, number one, too, like, you don't have to pay them a lot, so it can be fun, cool things like, you know, you could do a virtual wheel, too, like a little gambling wheel online.
Huh.
What
Yeah.
do you think
that could happen.
the good impact of it is to have them, let's say their schedule is 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. If they are connected on a Google Meet and they're actually also sharing their screen during the entire time, how good, bad thing that is productivity?
It's hard to say. I've never been a virtual guy, so I don't know, truthfully. Like, I've seen guys,
Most of your team is here?
yeah, almost everyone's here. 90% of our staff is here. I remember the only time we were virtual was COVID, and I remember they were doing things like that, and it was okay. You know, it's like whatever. Yeah, that's the hard part. Like, I would test it. So when I don't know the answer to something, I always say test. So test the results. Okay, we're gonna let you guys
We'll
not
teach
do
you.
this, right? And then like see the production. It's like, how many deals do we get? And how many? And you could check the other parts of production too, not just results, but input. And you're like, hey, how many offers did you make? How many calls did you make? What was your talk time? And so you see production on that point. So then, you know, you're like, all right, guys, we're going to test this now for 2 weeks where you're on Zoom, you know, with us the whole time, and let's do it. And, you know, see the results from that. How much more productive were they? What was the morale? All those things. And then you do another test and you're like, hey, for 2 weeks, maybe it's in between. You're like, hey, for 2 weeks, we're going to spend 3 hours a day together, right? So we'll meet at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., just get like, you know, going together. You can turn it off after, and then, you know, at 12 to 1, or, you know, we're going to meet again, and then at 4 to 5, we're going to meet again. Like, just spread out their meetings so that they, you know, just get time for both ways, and they're accountable.
I like it.
They're always engaged. Yeah, that was one thing that she said, that she didn't think that it was good for the culture for them to always
8
feel like
hours.
they're always being watched.
Yeah, because I mean, even here, it's not like you're always being watched.
Yeah.
You know, like they're out and about. They can go to lunch. Like, I don't have like a clock. You know, there's a level of accountability on their own. You know, there are people that show up here at 8 a.m. You know, and they don't even have to be here till 9 because they want to get ahead of the day. And
Well,
you know, so
It's also like the way I see it is it's important to give them the room and the flexibility for them to take action and leadership on it.
yeah,
Instead of
the
us
goal is like,
pushing them.
you know, we as business owners just want the result, right? At the end of the day, it's
Yep.
like, yo, I want you to just hit your KPIs and get the results we need you to get. How you go about it is, as long as you do it ethically, you know, if it takes you 5 hours to do versus 8, as long as you got the result, like, I'm not going to be tripping about it. Do I wish maybe you would have got better results because you would do 8? Sure, but I'm not going to be mad because you get the result. The problem becomes when people don't get results, because, you know, we have that problem here, right? I can see they're here for 8 hours, but if they're not selling and, you know, closing deals, what are we doing? You know, it's not good enough to just show up and not perform. And those are the hardest people to get rid of, because they're usually good people, they're good culture fits, but they're not performing. And it's like, what do you do with that person? You know, you can't just keep paying them for no reason.
do you switch them to another role, or do you just? Let
I mean,
them
I've done it over the years, but I think as time has gone on in my life, I've realized it's better to just let them go. I've always tried to keep everyone around and keep them happy.
Me
But it's
too.
like, bro, if like you can't do the job, like, I'm not going to go create another job out of thin air to, you know, for you, because you can't do the job.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Now, if there is another role, great. You know, like, let's try them out at it. Maybe that's their spot. But as we keep getting more efficient and more lean, I've realized that that's becoming less and less likely. So yeah, that's all. Those are the hardest people to get rid of, is great, good people who don't perform.
Yeah, I agree. Right now we're working with Remote Latinos.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, just started onboarding, I think, one of their people.
Yeah.
To see if maybe they can bring a higher quality closer, basically.
Yeah.
Because they have like the system, they have the process.
Yeah.
And we don't really have like a onboarding process. We don't really have like an amazing interview, right? So I
Yeah, it's
kinda
better
wanted
to just pay
learn
somebody else.
Yeah, I wanted to learn basically what they do, so we can just do it for all future ones. And if it does work out well, yeah, we'll definitely work with.
Well, don't
But
they have
that's
a thing where you can just pay 10 grand and they'll just supply you?
Unlimited, yeah. I think I did just one just to try it out for now to
Yeah,
see how.
but
it
I'm
would
just
work.
saying, like, because think about it.
That makes sense.
It would be better to just pay them to do it
Yeah,
because you're going to have to do it either way.
And we're gonna
Right.
do it, but let's say.
Yeah, and you're going to pay an employee, even if it's not you, you pay an employee to go do it. And that they're more than 10 grand. So I would rather just pay these guys 10 grand and let them do their thing as long as you're happy.
yep.
Like we've used them too. That's how we got started. And then, they sponsored WealthCon and they're good guys. I like them. We used them for editing.
Okay.
So they can definitely supply you whatever you need. I think they're great.
And you kept the people that they brought onto you?
Well, I
your
ended
team?
up
How did it work out?
shutting that company. It wasn't their fault. Like I just shut that company down. We were doing editing for clients and stuff, like for their social media, and I just realized that business wasn't profitable, so I just stopped doing it.
Okay.
It wasn't their fault. It was just like the cost of editing, clients, acquisition, their account managers, their coaches. You run all the numbers for this thing, and you're just like, dang, this is not worth the headache. Especially when you're trying to build up people's social media from zero, which most people are.
Right.
Most people,
It's a lot.
yeah, they suck on camera. Like it just takes time to get good. Like you're not going to do it overnight.
Right.
And then most people just don't have the patience to see it through. So you deal with new people who don't have patience, who, nitpick every little thing, even though they're not good yet. And then
Yeah.
it's just like, what are we doing here? This is not worth it. But, the good thing is that business led to me getting a lot of great clients too. You had to deal with nitpicky, pain in the butt ones, but then we had a lot of great clients from that have ended up and doing other things with me. So it was a win overall, but the agency business is very difficult. That's why I see most agencies like struggle, because you got to like create an individual thing for every client where it's like,
So recreating the business every time.
yeah, I'm like, all right, this is your business. Let's create a funnel. Let's create ads. Like, it's like, I got to think just for you.
Yeah, you got to feed them all the content, basically.
Yeah, and
it's
you
all
don't pay that
individual.
much for an agency to do all that.
Yeah.
It's like, you want us to, give you everything for a couple grand a month. That's like, it's
That's
not worth
pretty
it.
much the bread and butter that makes the other pure business.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So,
And there's not that many people that are good at it. Like you are obviously really good at it, but it's hard to teach that skill to somebody that you
but
can
here's the problem. Even
duplicate.
once they get really good at it, then they're just going to have their own team. So,
Yeah.
like, there's no in between. So, I learned the agency business stuff, but it's a little different with Lead Kitchen because that actually takes out all the problems that most agency have, because I don't need you to film ads for Orlando or whatever market
You're
you're
using
in.
the same ads here, there?
It's me. I'm
Right.
the ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have to like recreate the wheel. It's like, bro, you want to start today? Boom. We're in.
Automatic.
Yeah, because I don't need to. I already know the wording. I already know the messaging. It's the same business. I already know it works. I've tested it many times over in many different places. So, versus like, all right,
Great business.
I know. That's why I love it. It's super easy.
I love it.
Yeah,
So
because
why wouldn't you do something like a PPC nationwide and start doing it like that? And selling it
we
per
could.
lead?
We could. I personally don't even run my own PPC right now. We could, but I would rather just
like
get
that.
hyper focused on Facebook, get good at that.
Right.
Then do the
No, I would say run it like a PPC and like sell per lead on the
Oh,
Facebook.
pay per lead. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of pros and cons of pay per lead. One of the pros are for the provider for sure, because if let's just say I generated leads in Florida, and now I could sell the same lead to 5 different people. That's what pay per
Yeah,
lead
that's
does.
that's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they can make more money because it's like, all right, dude, you want leads in Florida? Cool. You and 5 other people are going to get the exact same lead. So it's good for me, bad for you.
Makes sense.
the same time, though, I understand why they do it, because if I expect that 4 of the 5 people suck at closing,
Right.
it doesn't matter either way. Like, they weren't going to close it anyways. And so, like, really savage salespeople don't care. They're like, hey, give it to 4 other people. I'm going to still get it. So, because, you know, at the end of the day, the cost gets subsidized. That's what's happening. So it's like, if your lead is $200, $300, and they sell it, let's say it costs them $300 to acquire it. They sell it to you for $300, they wouldn't make any money. But if they sell it to 4 other people at $300, well, now it's $1,200. So now they make the margin they want to make. But, you know, for you, if they were to just only sell it exclusively to you, they'd probably have to sell it for $600, you know, or charge a retainer, and, you know, that they make their money off. That's what we do, right? I give you the lead at the actual cost. So if the lead is $200, it's $200. You get it, but you're just paying us a retainer, and you spend whatever you want to spend. That we make our money off the retainer only. So, you know, that's how we make money. But if I was pay per lead, I could just be like, all right, dude, you know, how much you want to spend in Florida? All right, I'm going to market in Florida, and I'm going to sell all these leads to everybody in Florida. That's essentially that's the model.
Yeah, right now I probably wouldn't spend it yet.
Yeah.
Something that I've been considering, because I took the results driven.
Yeah.
With
Tiffany.
With Tiffany, and I thought that was pretty good. They do a lot of mailers, and they do a lot of inbound type of stuff. And I figured that would be like the next phase in the wholesaling space, but I haven't done it yet because I don't feel as comfortable with my team yet. I feel like I need to invest in people like the Remote Latinos so I can get like some good quality closers. Because right now I basically only have like 2. And they're not as consistent as I would like them to be. So that's why I'm kind of like, okay, I need to get good people first, and then I can just start, you know, revving up some marketing channels.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even, personally, I would not be doing inbound leads with VAs. I think they're too expensive and too risky for a VA to close.
Really?
Yeah. I'd be getting Americans and paying them a 10% commission and doing it. Because I mean, think about it, right? Like, I mean, let's say you spent $10K a month on marketing.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, we're gonna let a guy who makes $1,000 a month
Right.
handle all these leads, and like it's a big risky thing.
It's expensive, yeah.
And you know, let's say they are decent and they can close a couple, and maybe on the 10K you spend, they're good enough to make 20K. Let's just use easy numbers, right?
Sure.
And you don't really have to pay them a commission because they're VAs, and so it's very small. But then let's say you got a savage American, and so on that 10K you spend, they make 40 or 50.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I pay them 10%, it's all good. You know, I'm paying them $5,000, but I made 50.
Sure.
So I would rather take the way more talented person, paying them more, because they're going to make me way more.
Makes sense.
And the risk is much higher once you actually start spending on marketing, not just JVing, and like you have no loss.
No overhead. No, not really.
If they don't succeed.
My cost is the VAs, investor
That's
lift,
it.
and that's it.
Yeah, but with marketing, now you'll lose
Yes.
10K if they don't convert.
Correct.
So that's why it's like you need more skilled players.
Yeah, you need to be a good sales. Yeah, to have a good team.
Yeah.
And a good
I think
system.
VAs though are good for you know, one thing like Remote Latinos does is they have like a VA that will hit your lead immediately.
Yeah.
So like if you know a lead comes in, they'll call it, they'll set an appointment, and then you know you can hit them up. But even then, I don't like that, at least for our model, because I mean we're getting deals closed right there on the first call. So you know there's no guarantee that when they pass it off or set an appointment, we're going to get a hold of them again. Like, this is very different than wholesalers where you're going to get a hold of them. That's not your problem. Sellers are fickle. You know, they call in once, you didn't give them what they wanted right then and there, they're calling the next guy. And then boom, you know, they just took an offer from somebody else because you weren't quick enough. So it's a very, inbound leads are a very high stakes game. Cold calling, referrals, networking.
Right.
Low stakes. It's just volume.
Yeah, it's low cost.
Yeah.
What is the cost of somebody like that look like? As far as like you told me it was 10% commission, and then what about what is the salary? No salary?
Yeah.
They're just 100%
Yeah.
commission.
Yeah.
Wow. So they have to be killers. Okay.
But
Got it.
to attract a killer, you got to also get them good leads.
Sure.
So, you know, if you got
Wow, 10%.
good leads coming in, it's like, all right, I'll work knowing that I got opportunities every day with good quality leads.
That makes sense.
But
Okay.
you know, if you have junk leads coming in, then people are like, I don't want to work these. Like,
Makes sense.
these suck.
Yeah. Yeah, one other thing that I started that's random, and I know that you told me you were like, dude, just focus on these things and don't do anything else.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, dude, I got door knocked by some roofers that were like, hey, you need a new roof.
Yeah.
And I have a good buddy of mine that already owns a roofing company that's doing like $2 million a year roughly, and we've actually talked about partnering up. I just did 12 roofs on my rentals, and I realized that like that's not going anywhere, and like the insurance claims that are going on, there's really high profit margins on roofs.
Yeah.
And a lot of the hedge funds are buying and acquiring these roofing companies. It's good. It's a good way to cash out basically on those. And I'm basically partnering with him now on a roofing company.
Mm-hmm.
And we have now a team. I basically recruited like 10 door knockers from this other nationwide roofing company. And now they're basically like coming on board to my buddy's company. And I'm bringing that value add.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I guess it's another vertical.
Yeah.
And we're talking to an attorney to figure out like what percentage I should get of the company because of the value add that I'm bringing. I'm trying not to like buy in with any cash.
Yeah.
Just basically with like my time.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to figure out how to navigate through that process. So.
Yeah,
like,
I actually literally just talked to a roofing guy today. I've talked to 2 in the last 2 weeks.
About what, acquiring roofing
No, just
company
like
or what?
They've booked one-on-ones and calls and stuff. So met a guy who did $7 million a year. This guy I talked to today did $5 million a year.
Dude, yeah. And how long? Did it take them a long?
Years. Yeah.
Dude, in boardroom, I met probably like 3 guys, and one dude did $10 million a year in 5 years, and the guy, I was like, dude, this guy is not very smart. Like, I was like, holy shit, dude, if this guy could do it, I could do it. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's a really good scalable business, and it's like, it's not gonna go away.
No.
So yeah,
I think
I want your thoughts on it, because I don't want to get too dispersed, man. It's
well, like, so the roofing industry can be done in 2 ways, right? One way is you are actually a true roofing company who's doing everything.
yeah,
You got your team, your employees, your staff. The first guy I talked to was like that. The second guy was purely like just a sales team, which it sounds like what you're doing. Because what, these solar guys, these roofing guys, all them do is they just sell and outsource their sales to another company.
mm-hmm.
And so
We're actually doing the roofs ourselves.
okay, you're doing a full service company.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm the one that brought the sales team. Like, my guy does
he's
everything.
been just doing roofs on his own.
Correct,
Okay.
but he does referrals or like
Yeah.
referral based.
Yeah. Okay. So you're doing full service. Yeah. I mean, if you go out and build this door knocking team that's pounding freaking the pavement,
Yep.
getting these people to do insurance claims.
Yep.
I would guess most of his work is insurance work.
Yep.
Easy money.
Yep.
It's doing what we do, right? We're just building sales teams.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing.
I've never done it before.
Okay.
Have you ever had any door knockers or anything like that? I mean, you have the sales team.
Yeah, we built door knocking teams before, but once again, door knocking teams aren't as. I mean, I don't want to say they're not scalable because people do it all the time, but like, my skill set is scaling paid media or organic social media.
Right.
It is.
Yeah, door knocking to you is like the same as cold calling, basically, right?
Yeah, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
like way harder to scale a door knock team because you got to train these people up, you got to recruit them, get them fired up. There's this human element to do it. And the thing is, door knocking, cold calling is marketing at the end of the day, right?
Right.
They're having to generate the lead themselves and close it.
Right.
So what most of these guys do is they have a door knock team who doesn't close. They just set up appointments, and then they bring the real closers in the next day to go close the deal. That's what all these solar guys do. So, these door knockers are basically just marketing. That's all they do. And, for me, I'm just like, well, I'll freaking run Facebook ads and all. Like, that's way easier for me to do. I'll get in front of everybody
Right.
just tomorrow online. Like, that's just my skill set, though. I've just done it for a long time. So, for me, I wouldn't do a door knock team personally because I can just do that.
Sure. And you think you'd be able to do that in any industry? Like now that you got the Facebook ads for wholesalers, you can do that for any industry pretty much?
I
and you think
could.
it'll work? But again,
people-
it would take a lot of work,
people have
obviously.
asked me that. They're like, well, are you going to do that with Lead Kitchen for like another company or industry or whatever?
Right.
I said, yeah, maybe in time. Like, first off, let's like try and have a lot of success in what we know. Right?
Sure.
So I'm gonna focus on that here for the next bunch of years. And if that's the case and it proves to be great, maybe let's just say things go really good and a private equity firm's like, hey, we like what you guys do. We don't like that you're only in one niche. Can you do one in roofing, in plumbing, and whatever, right? And it's like, all right, now I got to do two things, right? One, I got to make ads that work and convert. And then two, I need to go find people to sell those leads to. And so I would run probably the same playbook and so go to like roofers and have a team cold call them and reach out to them and be like, hey guys, you want leads? We got high quality leads, pay us a retainer, tell us what you want to spend, and we'll supply you with all the leads you want, So the only problem is, and it could or couldn't be a problem, but what I've seen in those industries is they operate more so off referrals because the roofing companies don't want to spend money on marketing either. So the whole industry, once again, I'm not an expert, but this is what I've seen, is they would rather go pay out 30% or 20% or whatever the case is.
Right, yeah, commissions, yeah, exactly.
And just pay a commission and get it done.
Yep.
Right? So it's like, okay, this roof job is 15, 20 grand. We'll pay you out 5K for doing this deal.
Yep.
And then, it's all good. And they have no risk and they're fine with it. So then you would have to take on the risk as the guy marketing, assuming they can actually close and convert those leads that you're paying for. So like, it's a risky business model for me as the operator doing what they probably want to do versus saying, hey, you guys take the risk. You pay for the marketing. We're going to put in time and work and all that. In our industry on the flipping and wholesaling side, nobody operates like that. Like, I'm not just going to go send you all these leads for free and hope you convert.
Right. No,
Ain't nobody
not
doing
at all.
that. And that's normal. So I can be like, no, dude, you got to pay for the leads. Like, we know it works. We got proof.
Right.
We'll go run the leads. Well, we'll run the ads and everything for you, but you still got to close. So it works good in our industry. So I'd have to figure out what roofers would truly expect and what can be sold to them. Because if they're willing to run the same playbook and be like, yeah, I'll pay you a retainer. Yeah, I'll cover the ad spend and
Right.
we'll make 100% of our profit. Then dope. It's the same model. I just got to figure out what ads convert really good. And it might be a little bit harder just knowing that a lot of the way the roofers are getting deals now is like what you said. They're, basically door knocking saying, your roof is jacked up, dude. We can get it replaced for free.
Right.
That's literally their pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, you can't really do that with Facebook ads. I mean, I guess you could. I could be like, do you look at your roof right now? You see this thing here? We can replace all of it for free.
Right.
Call us. So like that could work.
Exactly.
But I don't know. Like once again, when I don't know, I just test.
Yep.
It's like, all right, well, will put me on a roof and we'll test it. Or we'll
Shoot a video. I'm sure you make it happen.
Like we'll test it all and see what happens, and if it works, then And at that point, I wouldn't use me. I'm not the roofing guy. It works good for me as the real estate investor because that's what I am. But I would go get some actors and true roofing guys and go film some skits.
I have a question. When you started all of this, do you have that in mind of being yourself as like the brand, let's say the business, and adding everything to you, or it just happened?
I knew that personal brand was important. Like just looking at every famous person, it's like Elon's brand helps him with everything he does. So either way, regardless if I'm in real estate or selling roofs, or like my brand is going to help me a lot. And so I better learn how to be on camera, be in front of people, lead people, promote, sell, all the things that every great entrepreneur needs to know how to do. Every entrepreneur knows how to sell. They know how to market and get people, so like it's the same skill set. That's why like when you bring up roof, I'm like, I already know all about roofs. I've never done it, but I already know exactly how I would play it because it's all the same skills. It's just I sell a different thing. And it would take me a few months to like learn how exactly consumers behave, what the business owners in that industry really are willing to do.
Right.
But I would figure it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, because I've talked to, there's a guy at Boardroom that does about 150 million. And I asked him, like, hey man, do you have any pay-per-click or any PPC or any Facebook ads? He's like, nothing. I've tried everything and it hasn't worked. All we do is door knocking. And I was like, dude, how is this industry not like tapped into, you know, the social media aspect? How has nobody figured that out? So
Because they're all
I
blue
just,
collar.
yeah,
They don't get it.
that's why I was thinking. It's like, okay, interesting. I wonder if
But think about this.
somebody's got to tap into that.
I mean,
so there's just a lot of money in that
yeah, I mean, like,
because there's no competition.
perfect example. Tommy Mello's a buddy of mine, and he just sold his garage door company, A1 Garage, for $600 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
He's at the last 12 months
Garage
speaking.
door company.
Okay?
That's crazy.
So Tommy,
Jesus.
Wow.
the only reason he built it to that level is because he understood the digital marketing.
Jesus.
He understood Facebook ads, PPC, all those things, and he dominated garage doors. So clearly, it can be done with
For
roofing,
anything.
with anything. It's just none of those guys. It's harder for those guys to figure out. It's not their natural thing. They're all blue collar guys who fix
Yes.
things, and they ain't marketers.
Yep.
Like they've relied on word of mouth their whole career, you know, or pounding the pavement is still like blue collar.
It is.
That's how a blue collar guy would get deals. So, you know, you got to take a guy who's got marketing experience to say, no, guys, like, we're going to. And that's why a guy like Cardone is going into those industries because he has all that experience. He knows exactly how to scale those things. That's why 10X Health has blown up. He took his great marketing ability and put it behind a healthcare product, which no healthcare products aren't that great at it.
Right.
He put a face behind a healthcare brand, you know?
No matter what the product is, the face is what's selling.
Yeah, and so he found a guy like Gary Brecka to jump in front of it. He himself was a user, and now they both tag team it, and with Brandon Dawson as well, and all three of them are really three different faces behind that brand that are helping it grow. But he just knows digital marketing at a high level.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to learn more about it. What books or what information would you recommend that we start tapping into so we can become better at that?
At digital marketing.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Honestly, I don't know that you need to. My opinion.
It's a skill.
Yeah, I don't think it's a skill that I would work on today for you guys. Like,
Yeah.
It's a skill I've been honing for the last, honestly, only like last year. You know,
Huh.
so like for
What?
me.
What do you mean?
Well, like so, I focused on organic content for years, right? And that was
Okay.
organic. So when I talk about the paid marketing side, the things we're talking about now,
Yeah.
that's only been me focusing on it for a year.
Okay.
Before that, I just hired guys out to do it for me.
Got it.
I'm just like, yo, I'll hire an agency. They'll run my Facebook ads. They'll run my TV commercials. I just let the experts do their thing. And I made a lot of money doing that. But then I decided about a year ago that I was going to start doing it because I thought that that would help us get to the next level. And I was right. You know, I started running all my own ads for WealthCon. I started running all my own ads for direct to seller, running all my own ads for our, you know, coaching and everything we do. And that's why I meet with the marketing team because I'm the guy. I'm the one who's like the mastermind behind all of our stuff.
Right.
And, you know, I just felt like that was what was going to take us to the next level in all the businesses. And so I devoted all my time and energy to learning it. I also had the, you know, fortune of being able to ask the best in the world any questions like Russell Brunson and Grant Cardone.
That's good.
So when I have like the ability to go do that,
Right.
It makes things a lot easier, right? And so, you know, and I took everything I had known about content and, you know, putting out great reels and great ads, like I already knew how to translate that to paid. It's the same thing. It's content. I'm just putting money behind the content now. So my point is, it is a hard skill to learn. And I myself didn't really try to learn it until a decade later after being a beast at flipping and wholesaling. So when I look at your guys' current situation in business, I'm like, hey, let's like just focus on getting to $250K a month wholesaling. And, you know, let's add one more channel, you know, whether that's, you know, doing more co-wholesales or maybe doing some cold calling or some, you know, Facebook ads, whatever the case is, like, let's focus on that.
Right.
250. Then, cool. I got this thing going. Then let me go worry about this other thing. Potentially, right? Because even with the door knockers and, the roofing thing that you're doing now, it's like, all right, managing some door knockers, it's going to be harder than you think. It just is. It seems easy in the beginning, and then, 8 out of the 10 quit. And then, you only got 2 killers, and you got to do it all over again, and all over again, and all over again. Then you're like, all right, now we got 10 killers. Like, that's what it takes, because, most of them aren't going to make it.
Right.
And
I'm sure there's a lot of turnover, yeah.
and that's why that guy, he's like, I don't even try to learn the other stuff. He's smart. It's like, bro, he knows door knocking to a T. That's all he's got to do, is just keep running the same play over and over. I don't know anything about door knocking. I'm sure I could figure it out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I know a lot about social media. I'm just going to stick in my lane and dominate what I know and not worry about anything else. So you guys, if I had to, you guys has great skills, and, you've done everything virtually and VAs and had a lot of success doing that, you've done it better than most people. So, why deviate from what you're already really good at? You can run a virtual team, get a few more, add a few more virtual pieces, and all of a sudden now that business grows a lot.
Makes sense.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, guys.
When are we doing a podcast together?
Man, we're going to have to schedule one.
I
Get
would
one,
love to do that soon.
Yeah. When are you guys going to be back in town?
I mean, we're only a couple hour flight away.
Where are you at now?
Orlando.
That's not a couple hours. Like, what are you?
That's 4 hours.
Dude, that's far for me.
4.5.
Every time I go to Florida, I'm like, dude, so far.
What do you mean? Far as Hawaii.
Hawaii, yeah, Hawaii for you guys is like what?
10 hours.
10 hours, yeah.
They don't go direct though.
No.
Yeah.
Here, LA there. I mean, Orlando, LA.
Yeah, we. By the way, Orlando is cheap leads. They were at like $70 a lead.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you already have somebody that's
Yeah,
doing it?
We've had a few in Central Florida.
Really?
Yeah, so I know that those are very cheap out there. I was surprised because, Florida's like a big competitive market. I'm like, they're only $40 or $70 out here. So that's something to consider down the road. But you would need sales team.
Right.
I don't think we're ready for that. Let's focus on Texas first, get that done, get it actually going, and then we can keep growing.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree.
That can
Don't add
put us
new
at any-
things right this moment.
It's
Keep
not
doing
even-
what you're doing. Just do it better.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the podcast, I'll have Tiffany go with you guys, and we'll schedule one for your next one-on-one. We'll do a one-on-one, and then we'll do a podcast. So it'll be good.
Perfect.
Cool.